And greetings and welcome to the QCast. This is season 4, episode 24. And I'm just going to call it the coolest episode of all time of the QCast because, folks, we have not just like one person. Sometimes there's a coach or there's a player. But, folks, if you can check the screen out, this is a QCast record. I have 8 student athletes from the Illinois Wesleyan women's basketball team with me. The Titans are currently ranked 13th in the brand new d3hoops.com poll. So all the way up to 13. They are 11-2, and they are on a roll. So they have won 8 in a row as they get ready to travel to Rock Island Sunday to face Augustana. And first, I think with 8, we've got to find a way to do a little introduction here. So I'm going to go in order of class. So guys, this is your standard, like, when you have to introduce yourself, you have to stand up in the class. So how about your name, what year you are, and what high school you went to? Are we good on that? Are we good? So let's start with our senior, Caite Knutson. So Caite, you're going to lead us off here.
Hi guys, my name is Caite. I'm a senior, but I will be doing my 5th year next year. And oh crap, what was the last one? I'm so sorry.
High school.
Your
Thank
high
you.
school. It's Collinsville.
I went to Collinsville High
I'll give
School.
you the
Yes.
answer. I'll give you the answer.
Thank you.
By the way, that's kind of really low key. Some serious breaking news is what I heard you just say is that you're a senior, but you are going to come back and play next year. Is that correct?
Yes, I am.
So, guys, the first thing I'll say in the QCast is this is kind of the rotation for the Titans, who are very good this year, and everybody's coming back. So, okay, so Collinsville. So we're remembering that it's name, year, and where your high school is. Now let's go to the juniors. Caite Palmer.
I'm Caite Palmer. I'm a junior, and I went to Geneva High School.
Thank you, Caite. How about Mallory?
I'm Mallory. I'm a junior and I went to Amboy High School.
Thank you, Mallory. Great to have you. Lauren Huber.
I'm Lauren Huber. I'm a junior and I went to Glenbard East High School.
Thank you, Lauren. Now we move to a really talented, by the way, so themes here is this group is all returning, a really talented sophomore class. How about Laura?
Hi, my name is Laura and I went to Barrington High School and I'm a sophomore.
Thank you, Laura. Ava.
Hi, my name is Ava. I'm a sophomore and I went to Stevenson High School.
Good to have you, Ava. Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sara. I'm a sophomore and I went to Lake Park High School.
Nice to have you here, Sarah. And Sawyer.
Hi, I'm Sawyer. I'm a sophomore and I went to Montini Catholic.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys and really appreciate you being willing to do this. This came about on very short notice. And I really appreciate you making this work because I know how busy you are with hoops and school and all that stuff. Let me just start. Let's start with our one senior who is returning, by the way. Caite, you're one of the captains. You're one of 4 captains on this team. What has been the key to such a great start here for the Titans? 11-2, 8 in a row. How would you sum up what's gone so well here as we're in the new year of the season?
I think really I feel like we could all agree that it started off the court. We know each other so well off the court that the chemistry just translates so well. And I think that's something really big from last year to this year. It's worked out really well.
And Caite, I think was last year your first year at IWU? You transferred from, is it SIUE? I want to say,
Yeah.
right? So from the D1 level. And how is this year for you different than last year? Like I assume you hit the ground running better. You felt more comfortable coming into this year. Talk about that transition a little bit.
Yeah, so most people don't know that I've never been a post player before. So last year was my first year trying to figure out how to even do post moves. Like I was more of a guard, and then if I had a mismatch, I would go into the post. So Wesleyan recruited me as a post, and that was just frightening, but I was willing to step up to that. So this year I just feel so much more comfortable having that 1 year under my belt. Yeah, it's just I've seen all the places, I've seen all the schools. I feel so much more comfortable here.
Yeah, it's we've got eight Titans here, and 7 of them are guards. And I think really what you're saying is like 8 of them are guards, and you have been transitioned into we call you a forward on the roster, and you do play in the post. Wanted to bring in Lauren Huber. So Lauren, one of the things that we need to first check in on is kind of your status. And I don't know if we're able to talk about injury status, but the last time we saw you on the floor was November 29th against Elmhurst. So the Titans have played 5 games without you. Can you talk a little bit about what injury you're dealing with, and is there a general time frame of when we think we might see you again?
Yeah, kind of a longer leave of absence than expected, but we've been doing great things in that time, and now I'm looking to play in the next game is the plan as of now.
More breaking news on the QCast is that leading score. So the Titans have won 8 in a row, and leading scorer and rebounder Lauren Hubert comes back. Now, this is a fair question, Lauren. So the team has been playing super well, right? They've kind of found this new mix of things. Coming back into things, how do you approach that? Because that can be a little bit tricky, right? How do you approach kind of jumping back into the mix? Do you go right back in the starting lineup? Do you come off the bench? Do we know what the plan is there yet?
No set plan, but I think an emphasis we've made this season is to really take practices as serious and intense as in games. So it's really nice that we have this whole week of practice. So that'll be helping that transition back.
Yeah, that's well said. And that's going to be really exciting. I mean, when I think of the Titans this year and watching you guys play, I think of 3 things. I think that you're really skilled, you're really athletic, and you're really competitive. There's a lot of teams in the country that have like a bunch of big posts and things, right? So we've just acknowledged that we have a 6-foot guard playing the 5. So but you guys are super skilled, athletic, competitive. Ava, when you talk about coming in this year, you transferred here from Division II Illinois Springfield.
Mm-hmm.
This is your first year, and you're doing really well. 16 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists a game. What's the transition been like for you from D2 to Illinois Wesleyan?
I think the transition was made very easily because of my teammates and because of my coaches. I think it could be hard coming into a team that isn't as welcoming as ours was. And even having somebody come from a different school and come on your team and somebody that's supposed to make an impact can be hard for people. And I think that my teammates were the reason the transition was so easy.
The first game of the year, Ava, I was able to fly up to watch the Illinois State game. And I know that game didn't go the way any of you wanted it to go. We can talk about that a little more. But I thought, Ava, right off the bat, you looked very comfortable on the floor in that game against a really, really good Division I team. Did getting settled there, playing that exhibition, did that help you as you kind of settled in and got used to your new teammates, or what was that game like for you?
I think it was kind of, we really had nothing to lose coming into that game. So I think it was kind of it was nice to have that before regular season started, because we had never really played together and I had never really played with these people, my teammates. And I think having a game where it didn't mean much was kind of nice. So
yeah, I thought that you guys all looked, again, the score wasn't what we wanted it to be, but I thought everyone looked like they were competing out there, and it was a fun game to watch. Caite Palmer, you've been in the middle of the rotation like Lauren has been for a long time now. You're just a junior. Caite, what's it been like seeing things mesh together with this new nucleus now? So that every year's a little bit different. You have a lot of returners, but what's the progression been like, Caite, from your freshman year to this group here, your junior year?
For sure. Yeah, it's definitely crazy, I think, to already say that I'm a junior, but I think now as an upperclassman, it's huge to look back on your past seasons, and you don't really realize how much you can grow from it until you go and reflect. And I think walking into campus in August, we knew we had a lot of unfinished business that we didn't take care of last season, and so that was kind of our emphasis, and we hit the ground running right away. From August when we were together, we're going to do as much as we can to be the best we can be. And I think that was a huge thing. And I think this year it's been even more special. I think something that's set us apart from my past years, I think this year has been our mindset, walking onto the court and being ready to go right away and just wanting to have something to prove to everyone out there that we're a really good team and that we play well together and we do it for each other.
Caite, does it feel like maybe there's a little less burden on you this year? Like, it seems like last year watching us play, we were very, very reliant on you knocking down threes. And it seems like this year, if there's a game where you're not knocking down threes, it just seems like someone else is always ready to step into the mix. Do you feel that from your standpoint, that maybe we're, I guess the word would be, deeper this year?
For sure. Yeah, 100%. And like we've talked about that at timeouts and been like, if someone's having a really good game and they want to double them, fine, but who are you going to double off of? Like, it's like we can leave, if you want to leave someone open, that's fine, but like we have full confidence in like each other to be able to knock down that three or pass it, and they can take one-on-one drive and stuff. So like that's been the really cool thing. Like we all just trust each other, and I think we're able to like just play more freely because of that, because we know that we know our teammates' strengths and we know how to find each other's strengths.
Yeah, it feels like that to me. And watching it, it feels like that if someone's not making shots in a certain game, that other people are. It's been this really cool balance. Sara Bali, wanted to ask you about your role on the team. I really think that you're one of the most important people on the team. Statistically, 5 points and 2 rebounds might not jump off the page, but the way I would describe your role is like you come off the bench and you're grabbing rebounds and you're not afraid to shoot. It seems like whenever you come in, if you're open, you do not hesitate to shoot, and you get big rebounds and make big plays. I mean, how would you, that's how I describe your role, Sara. How would you describe your role on this team?
Yeah, so obviously people started like injuries, like people had to step up. Practices are really competitive. Everybody's working hard for everything. I kind of just go in and like know my role is. Coach tells me like, come on, like we need you for rebound, we need you for R&J, we need you to play defense. I just go in with like just play it, give it all you got, play hard, get the rebounds, go after loose balls. And shooting wise, just shoot the open shot. It goes in, it goes in. It doesn't, just keep going.
Yeah, it's every time you come in, it seems like there's a hustle play, there's a 50-50 play, there's something that kind of swings the game in a certain way. Every great team that I've ever seen has a Sara Bali on it, and so kudos. It's fun to watch you play.
Thank you.
Mallory, so statistically, you are really filling up the stat sheet. 13 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals per game. As a junior, Mallory, it looks to me like you've kind of found your stride and you feel really comfortable out there. Talk about the season so far from your standpoint, Mallory.
Yeah, so it's been different. Obviously, with Lauren out, I had to fill the 4 role, and I have never really played a 4 ever in my life. So I had to, like Caite said, learn how to be a post, somewhat post. But it's nice because I usually have either like a bigger post on me so I could go out to the perimeter, or an undersized guard. So I usually go down and post them up. But yeah, really finding the role and like getting those rebounds and the extra pass for people. It's always so fun. I feel like this is the most unselfish team I played with. We're always looking for the one more pass.
And any certain game, Mallory, stick out to you this year as you look at the 13 games that you guys have played to date? Is there one that was kind of your favorite so far?
My favorite game was probably the WashU game, winning the tournament again.
Overtime win at Rose-Hulman, correct? Overtime,
Yes.
tough game. You had a monster game in that one. That was an incredible game. Laura, similar question to you as you kind of your role on the team. I would describe you, Laura, as first of all, a guard with great size. If you're not careful, you're going to be like a center next year or something like that. I don't know what's going to happen here, but you're 6 feet tall. And Laura, it seems like when you come in the game, like you come in firing, like you're ready to roll. Talk about your role for the Titans this year and kind of how the season's gone for you so far.
Yeah, I think that my role on the team is just to come off the bench, like shooting all my shots. Like, okay, someone needs a break, I got you. Like, I think that's what's so beneficial about this team is someone needs like a rest, like someone will be like able to go in and make an impact. If there's no like gap of like, oh, she needs a break, oh, so and so isn't in the game, like you're able to just come off and like someone's always ready to go in. That's just like something I've loved about this team. And I think that, as kind of like what Sara said, like my role is kind of similar. I do whatever needs to be done. Coach says, oh, we need to get some more rebounds. We're losing the rebounding war. Okay, I'm going in, I'm getting rebounds. So
Yeah, 5 points, 3 rebounds a game. Laura, you seem also really comfortable with the ball in your hands too. You know, you're a great shooter, but I've really been impressed because with your size, when you start going off the dribble into the lane, you can do great things. Has dribble drive always been part of your game, like going back to high school?
yeah, my high school offense was very dribble dive based, and that's definitely been helpful in college too. So
Awesome. Well, it's been fun to watch you play. And finally, so Sawyer, I've probably given you the most Twitter pub of any Titan because of like I don't even know how. I don't know if you're a hooper or you're just an athlete that's on the basketball team, but holy cow, like you're a soccer star. You come in, you miss. How many games did you miss? Or you missed the Illinois State game, and then how many did you miss because of soccer? I can't remember.
So last year I missed quite a few, the Whitewater game, Hope tournament. But this year I think I've been here for every game
Okay, so
besides Illinois State. I think
Illinois
so.
State game didn't
Yeah,
play,
yeah.
then you were ready to roll. But in all seriousness, Sawyer, what I mean, you're really doing some special things defensively, right, offensively too. But I think I counted you have 31 steals in the last 5 games, and you're just absolutely harassing the other team like up and down the floor. But first, I got to ask about defensively. Has this always been your MO as a hooper? And like talk about your game and where the steals and the defenses come from.
Yeah, so I mean, if I'm gonna be so honest, so my sister also plays soccer and basketball. And when we were probably like middle school, we would obviously play one-on-one against each other. And like I could not play a lick of defense. I was terrible. I could not play defense to save my life. And she would always beat me because she knew how to play defense. And so um starting like sophomore year, a lot of times I would get put in for defense on our high school team. And then kind of going forward, I started starting and then playing mostly the whole game. So I started picking up more defense and obviously defensive strategies to get steals. And so kind of started in high school and now I'm seeing it translate obviously to the college level. But I definitely love defense and it's a big thing for me. And so like I think like coach always says when whoever I'm guarding, like make their life a nightmare. And like we've done that a few times, all of us collectively. Like we have all played super great defense, but that's kind of like my like little push in games is like, oh, like this is gonna be a nightmare game for like the point guard or the guard. So yeah.
Yeah, it's been really fun to watch you play. You've kind of been the bridge. There's this guy, Bob Spear. He's my buddy. He's IW class of 1977 at Sport Theory 101 on Twitter. He was an incredible defender back in the Jack Sikma era teams. And he espouses various theories about denying the inbounds pass. And you actually do everything that he talks about, which has given him like a new platform. So I have to thank you on behalf of my friend Bob Spear for everything you're doing to prove his theories right. So guys, we got to talk about kind of where we go from here. So it's all fun and games to win 8 in a row and to be 11-2. We're in good shape in the CCIW at this point, but everything kind of starts over now. So Lauren, let's talk about the league a little bit. The league's really good. The league's always good, but you're sitting there. Titans are 4-0. Carroll's 3-1. Milliken's 2-1. Milliken's loss came up at Carroll in a really thrilling game. And Augie is sitting here at 2-1. So Augie's thinking, look, if we can get Wesleyan on Sunday, we're right in the middle of the championship race. So Lauren, how do you look at the conference race as we start with Augustana Sunday and we look forward?
I think that's always been the great part of the CCIW. It's such a respected conference. And really any game, you look at the postseason conference championship, you never quite know who's going to end up in the championship game. And we've already seen 2 overtime games with us in North Central, Carroll, Milliken. So nothing's out of the picture, and that's all the more motivation to work hard every practice.
Yeah, and this is a league where, you know, we're not going to sneak up on anybody. Milliken's not sneaking up on anybody. Carroll's not. It's a really deep league this year. Lauren, I wanted to ask just from an observer standpoint, you didn't play in the game, but the performance at Wheaton I thought that was one of the best Titan games I've seen in a long time. What were your thoughts on really handling Wheaton's always so good, but handling them? I don't have the final score in front of you. Beat them by a bunch. What were your thoughts on that one?
It really, I mean, not being able to play and putting just full faith in my teammates. It's like we feel pretty confident in what we're bringing forward, but like you said, with the CCIW, you don't really know who, like, what level you're competing against. And Wheaton did a great job that game, but we really took care of our stuff.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
it was
looked awesome. I mean, just looked awesome in that. And you know, Caite, in that game, the Wheaton game, you were really knocking down shots. I think you made 4 or 5 threes in that one, and you looked like you had it rolling. What was it? Something just, do you know, Caite, when you get into a game and maybe the first one goes down or something, that it's a good shooting night? Because that night looked great.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's the flow of the game. A lot of times it definitely helps. I mean, I think some games we've been known this season to start kind of slow and you're like, oh boy, like the first couple minutes. And then it's usually when we put our press on and we get that going. And I think if I remember to that game, it was kind of like close the first quarter. And then I think we put like our run and jump on and, and then it was kind of game over from there. And, a lot of the threes that like I do get that are in rhythm are through transition or off steals, and my teammates are able to get in the gaps and kick it out. So I think our defense really started our offense for that game, as it does for most games. But yeah, definitely.
Another CCIW game question. You guys had me really, really sweating at this Naperville situation. I mean, so we're playing North Central. I feel like I was real comfortable. I don't remember worrying about things for like maybe third quarter. We have a lead, fourth quarter. And the next thing you know, it's super dicey. And then we're in overtime. Mallory, you had 20 points and 10 rebounds and 2 assists in that game. What are your thoughts about the overtime win against North Central, which ended up being an enormous win for the Titans?
Yeah, I think obviously, like you said, it was a great win for us. The first half, I thought we played really well, and then I think the second half they started making more shots. We allowed them to get more offensive rebounds, and which is one of the things that we were struggling with, is letting people get second chance points. But I think that is a part of the game that has grown for us and is getting better as the time goes on and we practice it more. But that win was huge. To win up at North Central is always hard for us for some reason. And I think that win was just kind of a statement that we can battle through adversity and just pull out the win at the end.
Yeah, I mean, in any conference championship run, there are multiple games that you have to find a way to survive. And to come away with the win at North Central, I thought was just, I mean, if you leave there, if you head back south on the bus with a loss that night, it's crushing to you, right? Caite Knutson, on your side, talk a little bit about that North Central win, which ended up being, again, it wasn't a pretty game, but just grinding that thing out and finding a way to get a W.
Yeah, something that just came to my mind was something that Coach B said. He said that not many people get to be in that situation of just getting that experience of like super close game, last second shots, and then overtime, of course. And not many people get to say they've been through that and come out on top. So it was a good experience. Not really, it wasn't fun, but I think it's good for us in the long run. And thank goodness we came out on top as we should have.
Yeah, again, that was an exciting game. We talked a little bit about the Wash U game earlier, and we talked about it looks like, hold on, one of our guards here is struggling to get back in. We're trying to get Ava back in here, guys. I think she's coming. So yeah, there she is. She's in good shape now, folks. So yeah,
Five for Wi-Fi.
I know it's not good.
Ava's she's averaging 16 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists. A little struggle bus right now on the Wi-Fi, but she's back and we're happy about that. I wanted to go back and ask you guys about the Puget Sound game that happened. Was that the first weekend of the year or the second weekend of the year? I remember I was in Springfield, Ohio, watching the men play, and I was following our game. and we were down like 26-10 or something. And I'm like, holy crap, like this is not good. And then we were still down a whole bunch with like 10 minutes to go. Sawyer, your memories, your thoughts about the Puget Sound comeback and what that game leaving that one with the W, what that meant to the Titans.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we were down for a portion of the game, and really I thought it was a total team effort of just defense and offense, and even like the bench presence. That was a game where I didn't play too many minutes, and kind of just started getting back in the swing of things. And I just thought our bench, just this whole season and plus that game, has just been so electric, and um, just the overall presence of just everyone sitting there or cheering or kind of just being in the moment, being in the atmosphere has really helped us. So I think everyone was just super excited. That was the first game that we played anyone that was receiving votes at the time. And so just getting that giant comeback win and people stepping up has just been, or it was just really important to us. And I think everyone felt it.
And Sawyer, and that you mentioned, like in that game, not playing a ton of minutes, you were just getting back in the flow. You got that we have 8 of you here, but there's a lot of talented Titans that are not here on the QCast today, just because we only have so many questions we can ask people, right? But one thing I thought was cool, Sawyer, is when you guys got up big against Hendrix. And by the way, I was getting a little nervous at the beginning of this Hendrix game. I mean, I don't know what to say. It felt like it was 14-2, and I was like, "Oh, what is going on?" But there was like a 30-0 run, so then it was good. But Sawyer, at the end of the Hendrix game, you got a lot of people that got to play and played really, really well. Talk a little bit, Sawyer, if you would, about the talent that, like, the people that are ready if one of you guys turns an ankle or something, like some of the depth on the roster that's not here with us today.
Yeah, I think what's really awesome about our team this year is, like you said, like the depth of our bench. And so obviously the 8 of us get pretty good minutes every single game, and some of them don't. But I think the coolest thing is if any of us were to not be able to play or not be able to go, there's always somebody that's ready to step up. And there isn't a drop like there could be on some teams. I think everyone plays exceptionally well, and we see that all the time in practice, actually. And just today in our practice, we had a team huddle about how those people that usually don't get a good amount of minutes are usually on the white team. So we go against each other, and coach and the team kind of just shouted out the white team because they make us better every day. And so to see all of them get a chance to go in the game, and like Megan Moody step up like how she did, and Lonnie and Emma, everyone playing well and playing good minutes in that game was just really exciting for all of us. And I think we were all just so excited for them.
Sara, I wanted to just kind of build on that a little bit. I mean, this is high level basketball here, like Division III basketball, CCIW. You can be a great player in high school and come in as a freshman, maybe even a sophomore, and it's hard to get time. Sara, what was the transition like for you coming in from high school and trying to earn minutes as a Titan, as a freshman and sophomore?
Yeah, so I mean, I bet everybody here can also agree, like high school, you play, I mean, I started 3 out of my 4 years there. I was a captain 2 years, all conference. Like high school I was like really successful. And then I came here my freshman year, and obviously I didn't get a lot of minutes or a ton of minutes, but I would come off the bench here and there, play my role, come out. And the transition is hard for some, but you just got to get used to it, get into the swing of it. You can't like lose confidence in yourself. Your teammates trust you, your coaches trust you. You're meant to be there. You're there for a reason. So you just got to keep confidence in yourself. Your coaches have confidence in you, and so do your teammates. So that's how I got through it. And now I'm playing significantly more minutes, so it works.
And we talked about your role, but I mean, you're also someone that can score in bunches. If the situation that was at the Elmhurst game that I think maybe 16, 18, 20 points somewhere in there, like you had a really big offensive game against Elmhurst. Talk a little bit about, like, it's got to be fun every now and then to get to shoot a whole bunch, right?
Yeah, no, it is. And I'm one that also just like I look for open layups in transition. My teammates know, like, call me the cherry picker every time I get open layups at practice. Sarah, you're cherry picking again. But I mean, like in that Elmhurst game, it was just my teammates like throwing me the ball, seeing me in the open court, getting open layups, finding me. It was a great game. It was really fun.
Laura, I wanted to ask you a little bit similar question, just about, first of all, the transition from Barrington High School to the CCIW Division III level. Like, what was that like when you made the transition? If you could help, like, maybe there's some recruits out there trying to figure out where they fit in or whatever, and like, just talk about how high a level of hoops that this level of Division III is, Laura.
Yeah, so from the Chicago suburbs, which is where I'm from and where most of us are from, we play against girls that we now watch on TV. Like, we can turn on Wisconsin basketball and be like, I know her, I know her,
Sure.
I know her, I know her. So you have to remember that, like, you played against these girls in high school. It's the same game in college. You just have to find your footing again. So, and I love this team because I remember moments last year where I'd be like, oh, like after a game, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to play basketball. I don't know what I'm doing. And Mal and Caite and Lauren or Katie, they would come up to me like, Laura, you're fine. Like, you just have to find your footing. You'll be fine. Like, just having a team that reassures you is just so helpful in this process. And you just have to find the people that make basketball worth playing.
Very well said. I think that helps people understand, because as you guys know, there's a lot of people right now, a lot of girls high school players getting told that like they're Division I players right now, and they're not as good as you guys are. There's a lot of that, right? Where like people try to explain like, why would you go Division III? But you guys are great examples of how talented Division III basketball is. Ava, I wanted to ask you a little bit about the Chicago game. The Chicago game was one of my favorite games of the year because it was they were ranked so high at the time. It was on the road. I'm telling you, it's the worst stream experience of all time because like the score wasn't right. The score wasn't on the screen. There was no audio, so there was no broadcast, and not even that. I couldn't even hear like squeaking shoes. It was just there was. So I really had like I had a piece of paper, like I'm like writing down like I think it's 2-2, I think it's 4-2. But Ava, you had a monster game at Chicago, 24 points, I believe. Talk about what the Chicago win meant to the Titans.
I think we came in and we just really, really wanted it. It was just, we knew it was the last game and then we had a break and it was kind of just like we had to take everything out of the tank we had left and use all the gas we had. And I think, I don't know if people expected us to be able to come out there and win. And I think that was kind of what motivated us. And in practice, we do a lot of stuff like based off of scenarios. And I think it prepared us really well. And we kept our heads on straight the entire game. And we played together the whole time. And I think that's what got us that win.
And Katie Knutson, you also had a huge game in that one. You had 21 points. It seemed like you made a zillion free throws in that game. It seemed, Katie, that it seemed like an emotional win. Like I remember what was cool was they left the stream up when the buzzer sounded, and just watching you guys at the middle of like center court, it seemed like it was a really like emotional win. Talk about that side of it, Katie.
It's such an incredible opportunity to play. I think they were ranked 9th at the time. And like Ava just said, it's just not many people get that opportunity. And it meant so much to us. Obviously, you could see that. That was just such a emotional team win. Like Sawyer was just all over the people that she was guarding. Like it was just like so fun to watch. Like obviously I was in a mask, so that was very emotional for me.
That's right.
It was just there was a lot going on, and there were so many. I think our word for practice the day before was like adversity, and that's exactly what we pushed through together. So it was really cool.
Yeah, it just seemed like you guys had a belief in that game. Someone stepped up on the left wing in the first half. Was it Mallory? Just it's like, hey, I'm open, pass, catch it, shoot, boom. Am I making stuff up, Mallory? Did you make a left wing three that was just all net? Is that possible?
I think so. I think I like pulled up into it.
Yeah, I'm in my head when I remember like the ball was on the right side and you're on the left wing, and I remember you was like, hey, just throw it to me, and that someone did, and you just, I mean, you took zero time, and it was just like that. I feel like the shot went in. I was like, okay, the Titans are going to win this game, and it may have been like the first half of the first quarter. I want to ask you guys a little bit about this crazy defense that Coach Smith has been playing for a long time, and like I'm really glad that I never played for Coach Smith because I couldn't play this way. This is unbelievable. So Lauren, you've been playing this defense for a while now. I don't really know how to explain it. I guess that you call it the run and jump. I don't know if that's still a term or whatever, but Lauren, let's just start out with like, what are the principles of the Titans defense that, by the way, is forcing like 24 turnovers a game? How do you describe, Lauren Huber, the defense you're playing?
The reason why it's so hard to explain and grasp, and even playing it as many years as you want to, you're not ever, we adjust to what the offense is doing. We adjust to the ball handlers they have, how many people are in the front court versus the back court. So it's all just running and jumping, and that jump comes from a different angle depending on where you go. But the main thing about it is just communicating and hustling. So even when we're throwing in people new to the run and jump, it can still be just as effective if you're just sprinting to your spot. And then it's not always, there might be a little breakdown in the press, but then if the rotations still go, it's really just creating chaos, and that's when the turnovers happen. And then that gives us energy. We see a lot of times when our run and jump is successful, we see more success in our offense and our shooting percentages, and really fuels our pace of the game.
And Lauren, it's got to suit you really well. Like, you are one of the most athletic players ever to play for the Titans. I mean, there's a really short list of players that have been as athletic as you on all fronts. But do you feel like that system suits you? Because it seems like we got a lot of steals. Then all of a sudden you're streaking down the floor and you like to shoot like those pull-up mid-range shots and just kind of crafty, unconventional little, like, do you feel like it suits you well? Because it seems to me it does.
Definitely. I've definitely always been a type of player that just likes to use all the gas in the tank, walk off the court knowing you gave it your all. And the other main principle of the run and jump is you have to trust each other. You have to be willing to completely leave the person you're guarding to go trap, and trusting that your teammates then coming to rotate in. And then when that teammate is Sawyer or whoever it is gets that steal, and then we're going for the layup, it's just, sometimes I catch myself just smiling on the court. Like, it's fun.
Caite Palmer, how about from your standpoint? So you come in to the Titans. I'm sure you were a prolific high school scorer. I could just tell, like, you shot a million threes and made a bunch. You come into this craziness and Coach Smith is like, we're going to play this run and jump thing. Like, did you buy in right away? Were you all in? And talk about how it's been playing in this for 3 seasons now.
Yeah, so where I went to high school, we actually we pressed too, but we just did like a diamond zone press. And I remember visiting Wesleyan here, and Coach kind of sat, like, we had like our meeting. She kind of sat me down. She's like, so what are you looking for when you're looking to pick a school? And I remember one of the first things was trying to find a school that like also suits my style. And I was like, I love pressing, like getting up and down the court. Like, I get a lot of my points and stuff through transition and through my teammates and stuff. She's like, well, that's perfect because we run and jump, and I'm not looking to take press off anytime soon. So definitely going into it, like, I was excited for it. And I remember freshman year walking into it, and I was like, first day of practice, I was like, this is a lot. Like, it was not a press that I was used to, but it's also like, okay, like, this can be really good at the same time. So it's definitely not easy to grasp. And I think that's what makes it so hard. And like Coach says all the time, if it was easy, everyone in the world would do it. Every team would do it. And it's not easy. And like what Lauren said, like, that's what makes it so hard for teams to figure out. And I think just thinking of like one word to describe it recently, like, that set us apart from like the years past has been instinct. I think a lot of it, like, you have your set foundations for the run and jump, but you, at the same time, like, it's instinct. It's not going to be the same every time. And I think that's how Sawyer gets a lot of her steals too. Like, she just knows, like, she's in the right spot at the right time, or she's able to get her hands up. And so that's what makes it so cool. And I think it really does fit to all of our playing styles in one shape or form. So,
Caite, do you have to, like, it would seem like you have to be in a different level of shape to play this style? Like, what do you have to do different things in the off season, during the season, the preseason? How do you get in shape to play this crazy kind of defense?
Yeah, definitely off season. I guarantee you we're all thinking about it right now. We'd wake up early Friday morning, 6 a.m. We'd be running either hills, or our strength coach would have us doing a bunch of different conditionings. And like, as much in the moment, you're like, this sucks. Like looking back on it, you're like, that really helps. And even like in practice, we practice it every day. It's not something like, oh, just practice before the game day. It's like practice it different every day. We'll practice against like different forms of breaking it. Like there's not just one day that it's going to be the same.
Sure.
It's always different, and it's always something that we know that we have to have in our game plan.
And I got to ask Sawyer. Sawyer, I can't think of a player that's more suited to play in the Maya Smith defensive strategy. I mean, did you know coming in, Sawyer, that you were walking into this gold mine for you in terms of a team and how they play defense? Like, talk about what you knew about the style coming into IWU.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing that I knew about was obviously R&J. We used to do kind of like an R&J in high school, so I had like the principle of it down. And then obviously freshman year, kind of learning it more, and I still find myself even still like learning more about it every day, just different ways to like trap or come off the ball, grab steals, obviously. So, but I knew this was a very defense-oriented team, and I think that's one of the things that really drew me to Wesleyan is just the type and the style of defense that we play. I played a lot of zone in high school, and obviously it's a little bit harder to get steals in zone than it is man. So, I think playing a man-oriented defense has really helped, and I don't know. I love RNJing with, if that's even a phrase, I don't even know.
It's a verb. You just made it a verb.
All right, there you go. With our team, because I think everyone does such a great job reacting with each other, and kind of like what Lauren said about instinct. And I think one of the great things is also going further down the bench and deeper into our bench, everyone can come in and RNJ. And I think that's also really cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I would have never guessed that you played zone in high school, watching you play man to man. Sara, from your standpoint, I'm curious, once you guys get beat on the run and jump, someone breaks the press, pass, and like you guys seem to recover really well. It doesn't ever seem like anyone ends up with a completely open shot. So what's the key to recovery against or with the Titans defense?
Yeah, so obviously we've gone through scenarios where like, all right, the press is broken. Like we all have certain rotations. So 2 people in the back have certain rotations, 3 people in the front have certain rotations. You kind of just follow the rotations, and if it gets broke, we're all smart players. We pick up who's open. We have somebody on defense, and we just play defense, half court man. We're pretty good at our rotations. I mean, we run it every day, different scenarios. So we just get back, find a man, play defense.
Yeah. And Ava, from your standpoint, coming into, I don't know how much you were aware coming in from Division II to the Titans. You must have known, I'm guessing IW recruited you out of high school. You probably knew that the Titans played the run and jump, but what was that a positive for you coming in? Was it a negative? Like, what did you think about coming in to play this style?
So I got recruited before my freshman year, before I committed to my previous school. And so I knew a little bit about Illinois Wesleyan because I had visited it and I had made a relationship with Coach already. So, and then obviously I went somewhere else my freshman year, and I never really got to watch a game from the year I missed because I had committed so late. And so it was kind of like I was going in blind, and the coaches did a really good job of making it so it didn't feel like that, but I still was. And so when I like to press. I pressed in high school, all 4 years. We had a really good team in high school, and we kind of did something similar, but not exactly. But when I first came in, it was definitely confusing, but my teammates talked me through it, and if you ask a question to Coach, she'll walk you through what you're doing wrong and how to fix it. So it was a transition, but it was definitely, it's definitely fun when you're doing it.
And Ava, I should have asked you earlier and I didn't, but I'm curious. So why did you transfer? So it was a big deal, when the news came out that you were coming to the Titans. That was certainly you're really good as a freshman there. why did you decide to leave and come here?
Um, I just don't think it was the right fit for me. There was a lot going on there, and I wanted to be somewhere closer to home, and I wanted more of a team environment. And I had good coaches and I had good friends and good teammates, but I just needed a change.
Gotcha. Sounds, just from the look on your face, it sounds like we could do a separate QCast just on that. So maybe stay tuned. Laura, I wanted to ask you before we leave the topic of defense. You start the game on the bench and you're sitting there watching this craziness play out in front of you. And you're like, how do you prepare yourself mentally to get to that scores table and get to that pace that the Titans are playing at? That must be an interesting dynamic to go from like 0 to 100. Talk about like being ready to go.
So with Lauren out, Sara and I are the first two to come off the bench. And I've known Sara a while. We played AAU together in high school. But Sara and I are sitting on the bench, legs shaking, hands like clapping our legs. Like we are so ready to go as soon as coach, like she looks down the bench, we like are ready to go. Like it's just so fun to like have a team that like you want to play and like have an offense that you like want to be a part of. So I think that just like everything we're running, we're just all so bought into it that we just like can't wait to get out there.
And Caite Knutson as a post player, you know, as an old school five, as we say, I say that in jest. So from your standpoint, do you agree that it's a pretty darn good fit to have such a mobile post player with the way the Titans are playing defense? Do you agree with that?
I would say that Coach definitely knew what she was doing with that. I don't think that a traditional five would be able to keep up with our pace. So
agree. We've had some traditional fives, you know, going in the last decade. We've had some really good ones, but I would agree that based on the style that it helps a little bit more to have a mobile five. I wanted to ask you guys, and then we'll start to wrap up. I really appreciate so much your time, and I know that Division III fans and Titan fans are going to really love this. I got to ask you guys about a couple of games in particular, the two losses. So I can't remember the order of these. Let me think about this. So the first one, I was on a plane landing at O'Hare going to my mom's for Thanksgiving up in Batavia, Illinois. I land and we're beating Whitewater. And I'm like, this is huge. This is enormous. Like this win is going to like be the thing for the season. By the time I got off the plane and I couldn't get the video. I just had the live stats. Like Titans are up 6. Okay. All right. They're up 4. Titans are up 2. Mallory, I got to ask, I'm just picking you. I'm looking at you on the screen. Whitewater at the end of that game, I think we'd all like to have back. Talk a little bit about kind of the learnings from the Whitewater loss and probably a game that you feel like you should have come out of there with a W. Talk a little bit about that, Mallory, if you would.
Yeah, I think that was probably one of the hardest games that we could or that we had to swallow, losing that, walking away with the loss, because obviously we were up by 10. But I had probably my hardest matchup I had to go up against that game was against Grundall.
Yeah.
And she did get me in foul trouble. So I mean, that was really hard to see that she scored 33 points, obviously, but you know, she wasn't the one that won the game. We could have done like more things in that, but I really think that was just a game that we had to learn from, and we'll get better as that like the crunch time comes on the last couple minutes of the game, just really crunching and battle through an adversity. So,
and
yeah.
Mallory, when you look at, you know, I know that like top 25 polls don't mean a ton, but when you look at your two losses, they're to great teams, you know, Whitewater and Hope, and then you've got wins over great teams. Does it help build confidence as a player to know that like, yes, we lost, but that team has gone on to do great things? I mean, it's got to at least feel good to know that we're beating good teams and our losses are to good teams.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that we were both beating both of those teams, and now they're both top 10. So like we're right there with those top 10 teams, and obviously we just got 13. So it's really fun to be at the spot we are right now.
Absolutely. And Kate Palmer, the Hope game, that's a game that was another. I was at Springfield, Ohio at Wittenberg watching the men, and we looked great against Hope most of that game. You know, like I can't remember if we led a lot of it. It was like we were competitive the whole game. Hope pulled away at the end, maybe won by 5 or 6, something like that. But Kate, did the Hope game provide confidence? Was it disappointing? Was it all of the above? Talk about the way kind of the Hope game finished.
Yeah, for sure. Coming into the season, like I said, we had a lot of goals that we wanted to achieve as a team. And I think going back to even the Puget Sound game, like we never really thought we were out of that game. And I think when we won that game, we were all like, okay, we can be good. And then I think after the Hope game, we were really like, you know what, we were right there. We can be really good. So now let's turn this into something like great, And I think that was a big thing coming out of the Hope game. It's like I think stuff has been building, but then once it reached that Hope game, we're like, we're right there. We were up most of the game, I think, looking back at it. And it's like, yeah, looking back, you could do things differently, but at the same time, I think we also learned a lot and it helped us in games in the future.
And Laura, I just wanted to ask a little bit, building on the schedule part of it. Do you like playing the kind of schedule that Coach Smith plays year in and year out? I don't think there's many programs that play a tougher schedule consistently than Illinois Wesleyan. If you look at your schedule this year, it is unbelievable. Laura, do you, as a player, I guess there's a couple theories, right? You could play a bunch of teams you beat by 30 and feel good about that. Your thoughts on the strength of schedule that Coach Smith plays?
I think she prepares us, but I also know that she doesn't throw anything at us that she doesn't think we can't handle. So I love that she gives us these great competitions, that we travel all these places to try to play people that she has faith that we can beat and compete with. I think it builds us as people just as well as it builds us as players. And if anything, it brings us closer together. So I love the schedule that she builds for us.
Yeah, very, very well said. And before I let you guys go, I'm just going to pick a couple people here. I do want to ask in particular about Coach Smith, Lauren. You've been a regular now on her teams for, this is your third season, obviously. Talk a little bit about the job that Coach Smith does with you guys, Lauren.
Coach Smith, she builds a program, like the community that she builds at Wesleyan and at each game. Like we have consistently people who come from far to just watch us on a Wednesday night. And that means so much to us, and getting to hug our parents before we play, getting to go on these team trips. We've gone to multiple dinners over break. We do team bonding. Coach just really cares about getting that family aspect. And she genuinely enjoys being our coach and brings energy every day. She's our fearless leader, as she likes to say. And she definitely is. We really have come together in such a strong way this season, and she was a big part of that.
And it definitely shows. I mean, again, when you guys are a cohesive team, and that does not happen on accident, when you bring together all these talented parts and you have to ask all of them to play different roles than they maybe played in high school. Caite, Palmer, on your side, just talk a little bit, if you would, about Coach Smith.
For sure. Coach definitely tells us all the time that she's having a lot of fun this year. And I think that that really means a lot to us as well. And for us to see, and there's been games, like you said, like the Hendricks game. And I think there's a couple other where we start the Puget Sound game when we go down and stuff. And we'll kind of look at each other. We'll be and I think we look at Coach and we're like, okay, she knows, we can see her trust in us also from the bench too. And it's there's situations that you can go ahead and get upset with, but Coach is able to keep us level-headed. And she said that she's always had faith in us through these games and everything. And I think that means a lot when you have a coach that believes in their players, and it shows.
Caite, I also, before I let you guys go, I have to ask you about a couple really memorable games. I guess it was your freshman year, the CCIW championship game at Milliken. I feel like you made 17 threes, and they were all on the left wing, and they were on the right side of my screen. I'm sure it wasn't 17, but was that one of the biggest wins you've been part of with the Titans, that game to win the Pool A bid for the Titans in Decatur?
100%. That feeling that you get after that game, it's totally unmatched, something that you just can't even describe. And I think a huge thing this season is we're chasing that and more this season. So just knowing that going out to perform for something bigger every single game, you might just think it's a random game on a Wednesday night, but it all leads to something even bigger. And for sure, that game, definitely one of the most memorable and fun. And it's like, even looking back and like looking at the footage from that game, like the pictures, like the videos you see from it, like we're all hyping each other's face, like giving each other high fives, and it's fun. It's really fun.
And then like 2 weeks later, at Whitewater, versus DePaul, first round of the tournament. Was that play going to you the whole time, or did it just end up going to you?
I think honestly it ended up going to me, but I mean, like, I had not made it through that entire game. I remember that vividly. It was not a good shooting day for me, and that Mallory specifically was like, KP, they're going in, they're gonna go in, keep shooting it, and that's a great thing too about like this team is like, even if someone's not having a great shooting day, I know I've been there, like they're telling you like, shoot it, like Lauren will tell me, shoot it, I'll get you rebound if you don't make it, like it'll lead to something. But yeah, specifically that game, I had not good shooting game, and Brooke Lansford, she kind of had the ball, like faked it, passed it to me,
Right.
and so it was always a big joke and stuff. And like Brooke and I always talked about it afterwards. And I think like after I made it, we had like a Tommy's award. I won like some of Tommy's award for that shot, and I was like, well, the pass is just as important as like the shot and everything. But yeah, looking back, I think it wasn't like specifically drawn up, but like we're like it could be an option. So a little bit of both.
It was unbelievable. It was, I remember sitting there like just stunned, like, oh my God, that just happened. As we close, what I'd like to do, guys, is just kind of go around. There's something I like to feature when we do these QCasts, and that's like that hashtag YD3. There are student athletes that are making decisions right now on what level they should be at. And I think the great thing about social media and things like this is you can kind of make sure that there's two sides of a story, right? And so what I like for people to understand is the special parts of Division III. And you just kind of go around the room as we close, give everyone just maybe, like a quick 30 seconds or so. But and I'd like to start with Mallory. I'm just going to go in the order I'm looking at on my screen. But tell me what you like about being a Division III student athlete. And we'll give everyone a chance. We'll put Mallory on the spot as the lead off hitter. But yeah, just what do you like about Division III athletics and being a D3 student athlete? Mallory, kick us off.
I came from a very small town, so Bloomington is actually very big for me. So this was a big change, but you gotta make sure you feel like home. And I came on this visit, and everything felt like home to me. The coaches were great, and the girls that were on the team were very, very welcoming. And I think that comes with Coach Smith being who she is, and just finding a program that welcomes you and coaches that welcome you, and just making sure it feels like home to you.
I appreciate that, Mallory, and keep asking for the ball and keep shooting the ball, please. It's a good thing. Laura, how about you? Kind of like talk about your, what have you liked about being a D3 student athlete?
I love it here. I used to say I didn't want to come to a small school. I like never in my mind. If you would have told me 4 years ago that I'd be coming to a small school, I would have laughed. But it's just different, and it's just a good different. And you think that you want to go to a big school, but then you come here and you're able to walk around and see everybody that you know. Like you walk down the hallway, oh, so-and-so's down the hall, let's go say hi. But that's just like not even in terms of basketball, but even basketball wise, like it's not a huge difference. It's not as big as people make it out to seem. And I think that people just need to like get over it, because I love playing here and I love playing at this level, and it's so much fun.
Appreciate that, Lauren. Big things ahead. I mean, there's stretches of what you're doing during games that have everyone very excited for the future, kind of your inside outside, your dribble drive. And so really appreciate you being here and exciting things for you. Sawyer White. So Sawyer, you have a unique experience. You're a multi-sport student athlete, as a couple others are. Talk a little bit about what you like about Division III, Sawyer.
Yeah, so obviously the big thing is that I can play two sports. And I think that's why I wanted to go Division III at the very beginning. But I think also kind of to piggyback off what Mal said, just besides obviously being a dual sport athlete, I think the basketball side of things, I really enjoy the community aspect here. And, big school, Division I, you have a lot of fans, obviously, but the part that I really enjoy as a D3 athlete is when we have home games at Shirk and we see families that come to our summer camp,
Sure.
like little kids that come to our summer camp, and we have camp reunion night, and the same 5 people sit wherever in the stands and them by name. I think that's a really cool aspect. And then also just outside of sports altogether, just the people and schooling. And I'm an elementary education major, and so being able to play 2 sports and major in elementary ed is something that's really cool. So obviously the decision to go D3 for me was perfect.
Well, appreciate the way you play, Sawyer, and I get excited watching the Titans because it's like I start the Sawyer White steal count, try to snap some videos and put them on Twitter. You're a joy to watch. I think you embody Division III athletics and you know the way you conduct yourself. So kudos. It's fun to watch you play. Caite, interesting
Thank you.
perspective because you played at the Division I level, right? And now you're a Division III player, so you have a probably unique perspective on this. Talk about your experience as a D3 student athlete, Caite.
I think that originally coming out of high school, I was scared. I feel like it's no secret to anybody. D3, you don't get athletic scholarships. And it was just, that was a really big factor for me. I wanted to be able to have the opportunity to get a scholarship, and money's a thing in the world, and you got to worry about that sometimes. But I think that looking back on that, I I don't know how to word this exactly, but I think all of us are here because we love basketball. That's just the bottom line. D3 allows us to have really good schooling and play the sport that we love. And you get to do both at a high level. I had something I was going to say, but I totally forgot. But basically, it's an experience that I can't even describe. It's just amazing. D1, it felt like a job, to be honest, just to be very blunt. And D3, you can put as much work into it and you get out what you put in. There's no obligation to come to summer workouts. We get a lot of off season, to be honest. So you really just, if you're playing, it means you love the game. And it's really cool that D3 allows that.
That is extremely well said, Caite. And it's fun to watch you play. I know you said you're not a post player. You're playing the post. I think the thing that comes across watching you play is you're a battler down there. I know that when you get the ball with your back to the basket, that it like maybe that's not something that's still 100% comfortable to you, but you're a scrapper, and that thing goes in the basket, doesn't it? So it's fun to watch you play. Kudos to you. Caite Palmer, your experience, you're a junior, your experience as a D3 student athlete.
Yeah, definitely. I would say I'm here because I love basketball, kind of just as Caite just said. I come from a very competitive household. Both my parents played Division I sports, and I remember going through a recruiting process, and I was like really stressed out. I didn't know what to do, where I wanted to go, and honestly, my parents are two of my biggest role models, and they were able to kind of tell me, here are your options, weigh them, and they were fully supportive on what I wanted to do. And I think at the end of the day, too, they're like, you love basketball, you're competitive, you're our child, siblings are super competitive. And at the end of the day, when I came to Wesleyan, right away, it felt like a fit, and it's something that tailored my needs for just the love of basketball and competitiveness.
Similarly, Caite, what I would say is you've been a mainstay on the team for 3 seasons now, and you were great as a freshman. You've been great your last 2 years. Every time the ball leaves your hands, I believe it is going in. You are as pure of a shooter as the Titans have had. You're a blast to watch, so keep firing things up and playing great. We're proud of you. Ava Bardick, you also have a unique look at this thing as a D2 student athlete, now Division III. What's the D3 experience been like for you, Ava, so far?
I'm kind of gonna piggyback off Caite a little bit. Coming from a Division II school, you kind of see a lot of your teammates that don't have as much passion for the game as you would think, and they're doing it because of a scholarship, obviously, and that does happen. And I think coming to Wesleyan, it's just been such a different experience because you really realize that competition is not very different. And it could be harder at sometimes because people actually want it more than the people that are just playing because of money. And actually recently I just over break, I took my brother to a men's D3 game. And I really just wanted him to see, because he plays basketball, I wanted him to see D3 is not a joke. And it's this is legit basketball. And he was really impressed. So
Stevenson High School kid, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
I've seen that name. He's a junior, right?
Yeah, I took him to the Elmers game.
Yeah, well, that probably wasn't a good one to take him to. I mean, maybe let's take him down to the Wash U game or something. That wasn't the right one. But I'm glad you took him, because I've been wondering, is Coach Rose going to need to get on this kid? So that's another CueCast. But Thank you. Yeah, and you're in Ava, you have been such an incredible addition to this group of Titans. I mean, you are super skilled at what you do, and your ability to shoot it and handle it is unbelievable. So look forward to huge things from you, Ava, the rest of the season. Sara Bali, your experiences, you're just a sophomore. Your experiences as a D3 student athlete coming out of Lake Park High School.
Yeah, kind of backpacking off of Mallory and Sawyer. A common word you just hear around here is home and like a homey feeling. And the second I came and visited here, whenever beginning of my senior year, I just like it just felt like very homey and like I could just tell I would love it here. So ever since then, it's just felt like everybody's really close, like family. I go to my actual home and I miss here. Like I just want to come back here. Like I want to be here more than I even want to be in Bloomingdale, Illinois. So and like basketball games, you know, kind of also backpacking off of what Sawyer said. People come to the games that have no relation to Iowa women's basketball. They just are there to watch the game. The other day I was walking out of Shirk with Mallory and one of our fans, I have no idea who he is, was like, "Hey, like, good game, Sara, good game, Mal." Me and Mal looked at each other like, who is this? But that's what I mean. Like, it's just things like that that make me love this school. So
I think when you were a high school senior, you tweeted out like from your visit a photo from half court with Coach Smith, maybe both coaches, and maybe a photo like outside the locker room. It sure seemed to me like it was a done deal. I'm like, this girl's coming. This is a done deal. And we're glad you did, Sara. Keep being a scrapper. I think the role you play for the Titans, whether it's a starter off the bench, super impressive. The 50-50 balls you win for the Titans, offensive rebounds, not being afraid to shoot the ball. You've been a joy to watch. And we'll wrap it up with Lauren. So Lauren, you've been doing great things. You're a multi-sport stud. You probably grew up playing every sport under the sun, I'm guessing, just kind of watching you and what you've done. I'm guessing you were good at everything. I know you had opportunities to play at different levels. You had to talk about your experience, Lauren Huber, as a D3 student athlete.
Well, talking about the student part first, a student athlete, I have, since I remember, wanted to be a PA, physician's assistant. And so that's always been the goal that I'm chasing. And there were like different routes you can take. You could do a 5-year program and then be done, or you can do 4 years undergrad, 2 years grad school. So even the possibility of not playing a sport crossed my mind to really just focus on school. But then obviously I wound up at Wesleyan, and it's just been so amazing. And coach, honestly, in high school, you hear a lot about student athlete, but really it's like your athletes are athletes.
Right.
More so, or you see that a lot at like Division I or Division II even. And I remember there was this meeting with a alum from a PA school that I was really interested in, Midwestern. And it was like, I'd have to miss an hour of practice. I'm like, Coach, I'm sorry. Like, this is tomorrow. Would I still be able to go? And she's like, yep, absolutely. And it wound up being a really good opportunity to connect. And like, when you're looking at a school, as you were saying, like people searching for schools, maybe watching this, and I'd say, don't just look at your coach and your team. Obviously, those are great things. And our coach and team are very supportive of all things student athlete life, but also look at the institution and the university itself, because I know just on LinkedIn, there are so many Wesleyan alum that are so eager to just help you out. And there's such a great network there too. And as far as athlete life goes, it's all about playing because you love the game. And like Caite was saying about the scholarship aspect of things for D1 and D2, if you look at, you know, just who's on this Zoom call right now, we have 8 great girls who are just ready to start in any given day. And at a Division I or Division II level, that could be seen as like some animosity or like going after people's scholarships, things like that. But here it's like we fully trust each other and we're ready to play. We talk about that. Like Sawyer said on the white team, like it's a battle every day. Who's going to win? There's no like, these are our 5 people who are on scholarship and these are our like other people. We are just super unified. And that is a great feeling that everyone holds worth and has a life outside of basketball, but that we all care about each other people.
Yeah, really, really well said there, coming from one of the Titans captains. And, Lauren, when you committed to Weston, I remember how big a deal that was. And remember the summer before, I think you were the MVP of like the 3A, 4A IBCA game. And I remember thinking, wow, like how did we get her? And it's played out. Like, you were a great freshman and you've been great ever since. And two pieces of good news on this QCast, of course, is that Caite Knutson is coming back for a 5th year and that Lauren Huber is ready to play basketball again Sunday. And the great thing I'll say about you guys in wrapping this up is that a lot of teams would probably have to worry about, like, well, the leading scorer and rebounder is coming back and they've won 8 games in a row. So is that going to be a bad thing? And I think with the way you guys seem to play together, that whatever Coach Smith decides on what the new rotation is, that people are going to accept whatever their new role is and just keep hooping. And so we look forward, Lauren, to having you out there. To all of you, I would say thank you for your time. This is, I mean, holy crap, we've been going quite a while now, but I think there's a lot out here in this QCast for people to listen to that really they'll take from. And I'll just say thank you to all of you for your time in this. I have a little 13-year-old niece out in Washington, D.C. named Riley. And the biggest compliment I can give you guys is that I like to send Riley the links of the Titans games coming up so she can watch you play, because I think you guys are great role models. I think you're great role models for, women and girls out there that are trying to figure out who they want to be and, if they want to be an athlete. And for the hoopers, like my little niece Riley, like, you guys play the game the right way. So keep it rolling, Titans. You've played great. You've looked great. You've made all of us proud. And one game at a time, we start that in Rock Island Sunday. So with that, Titans, I'll thank all of you for joining me on the QCast, and it's been great to meet all of you. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank
Thank
you.